Alrighty, friends. There we go, back in studio. Just waiting for the stream to pick up and recognize us a little better. Hopefully the feed will build up here a little bit. It's a little dark in here. Let's add some mood in, shall we? Maybe blue? Yeah, we'll go half. There we go. All right. Oh, and we're missing an important light. I like this one the most. So, just tighten this up a little. Might not be able to see it. It might have been a waste of time. Anyway, we are back in stream. And it's time for me to keep cranking away on some more of this artwork. And I told you guys that I'd get back on a little later. And we'd play some more, so we are back. I'm going to go ahead and get some music cranking here. For me, I'm sorry that I can't play it for you guys. And let us see what we can get accomplished here. Taking a little break. This piece was messing with my brain a little bit. So we'll see if I've been able to reset my brain a little after some food. See if we can get some work done. Turn down this music here a little. There we go. All right. We hit Wendy's, got some food. It was nice. Bourbon Burger is definitely for the win. Bourbon Burger. Excuse me. Okay. So we got our reference photo. We got our initial designs. Still hate how much I love that ribbit one that I did, and yet we can't really use it. But we're back and we're ready to rock and roll. So let's get back to work, shall we? All right. I'm going to just do one more rough sketch just for giggles. I know it's overkill, but I just want to try one more time. And then we'll ink this guy up. I'm just going to go off of the basic flow of what we already have here. But I just want to try one more time. All right. And I'm just trying to lean back, be relaxed, and just enjoy the process. All right. Feel free to ask your questions if you have any, and welcome back to the live stream. And we're going to try and make some quick progress on this. All right, something doesn't feel right. Let's try and zoom in a little. Here we go. And I'm really trying to go for just drawing as if I was at Disney. Just doing my usual thing. Quick, painful. It's supposed to be painless, but you know. Welcome to everyone who's here to hang out. Appreciate having you here. Don't be afraid to leave any comments. I'm more than happy to chat. I know it's been a long time since I've done a live stream, and we did one a little earlier today. Had some very nice people in. Had Aaron from the UK on. And I told him I'd come back on and keep working on some of these commissions here on the channel. So we are continuing this as quickly as we can to see if we can get something worthy here. Kind of like what I feel like his eye is doing. It seems to lift up over on the corner. So I kind of really want to get that, and I really want to minimize that. Really want to try and get that Tom Richmond style of pencil sketching in this. Tom just knows how to quickly knock this stuff in. I actually got to talk to Tom the other day. for just a few moments, just to ask him one quick question. It was very, very kind of him to get back to me. He actually gave me advice on how to wrap my pencils. And I love having a really thick pencil to write with. And his suggestion was to use, what kind of wrap is it? Sport wrap. And so I went and I bought some sport wrap and I tried it out and I liked it. But right next to it, I found waterproof tape. And I'm going, that waterproof tape looks like it would work really well. So I picked up the waterproof tape too. Found out I liked the waterproof tape over the sport wrap. So I wrapped all my pens and pencils and devices in this little sport wrap. And then what I also did was I grabbed some, what do you call it? It's, hang on, it'll come to me in a second. Pre-wrap. So, and I actually have some buried underneath all my paints. Actually, right here is the, here's the wrap. This is NextCare Absolute Waterproof Tape. Look that up on Amazon and buy some of that. That stuff is amazing. And then you take the pre-wrap, which is a very, very thin foam, and you wrap it around the pen in any way, shape, or form that you want to build your own grip. And then you lock it in place with some of this stuff. And you can do as many layers as you want of them stacked on top of each other or whatnot. And this is just absolutely fantastic. I love it. And it feels very permanent. It kind of reminds me of the old steering wheels in the old cars. You know, where maybe your parents or your grandparents went and bought the leather wrap and then wrapped their own steering wheel with that leather wrap. I don't know if you guys remember that. My parents had that in their old Toyota Corolla, and I always thought that was cool. I was like, I want to do that in my car, and I've never seen it in stores. I've never seen it ever since then. It was a 80s and 90s thing, apparently. And so that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like a baseball bat, like a wrapped baseball bat with a little bit of a squish, but not much. It is very, very comfortable to draw with. I dig it. I dig it. All right. So for those who are just coming here for the first time and are wondering what's going on, I have a ton of commissions that I have to work on. About 4 of them today. I've already worked on one, which is this one. We finished it up in my previous video. We just did final colors and got the FPV Skittles name in this one. But we got that one roughly finished up. Then this is the husband of the pair. So I'm drawing these 2 folks separately, and then I'm going to put them together in one single caricature when I'm all said and done here. And then that will cover both of them. And then I have a special painting I'm doing for a family member, which is a really special thing. And then also one more caricature, which is a full body caricature that I'm doing for someone for a logo for their business. And that one's going to be fun. I'm hoping I can get to that one today. We'll see how much I get accomplished. I'm actually saving the family one for last because that one is a freebie I'm doing, and I need to kind of get the money side of things all said and done. But we'll knock this out and see how far we get with it. I feel like when I look at this, and you take your hand and you cover over a little bit of it, when I look at the eyes look almost good. When I look at the nose could be a bit wider, actually. And the mouth? Yeah, the mouth is actually pretty close. There's some things I can do, though. I think the nose needs to be bigger, so I'm just going to go ahead and try and expand that nose out a bit more. I feel like the nostrils could go a bit wider. So, just as easy as either erasing or expanding. I mean, we could just grab it and stretch it, but why do that? Don't be afraid to leave a comment. I love your comments. Love talking with you guys. Always enjoy chatting with you guys. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Software stuff, art stuff, life stuff, whatever the case may be. Happy to answer. All right, that looks pretty good. And actually something I find interesting is that you can actually kind of see the nostril come down kind of like this. So we'll do that. Yeah, that helped that a lot. That is starting to look a lot more like him. I do feel like the eyes might be a little high. So let's go ahead and try and drop this down. Okay. Yeah. Now we're starting to see that likeness I'm digging for. Definitely not nearly as good as our ribbit effect. Using a frog is the design, but man, that turned out really well. So yeah, we're feeling good. We're feeling good. I feel like this is getting somewhere. I'm gonna go ahead really quickly and see. I'm gonna go ahead and link these two layers together. I like leaving my sketch layers all together and combined. And then we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a transform and distort. And I want to just see what happens if I pull the chin outward on the bottom. We'll stretch the head a little. And then my goal is to kind of push the head inner just a bit more. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, actually. That looks cool. I like that neck showing the way it's showing. It's a little too long, but at the same time, I really feel like that kind of works. I feel good about that. I actually feel good about that. So let's go ahead and ink it, and we might make some changes as we ink, but I think we've waited long enough for getting to the inking point. So saturation, opacity 100%, stabilization 100%. It is time to scratch this in. All right. Thank you so much for everyone who's hanging out. Appreciate you guys all popping in. Here we go. All right. Now, like I was saying here, I really like how his eye seems to actually go pretty high, and then right at the tip, it seems to turn, kind of like that. And usually what causes that is the eyeball itself pressing against the eyelid. So at the point where he's looking, I will raise that part of the eye up a little bit higher. Kind of like that. There we go. All right. And I'm going to really push his eyelid up just because I think that's a cool look. Really get that laugh in there, that laugh line. And I don't want to go too strong with this. I'm trying to be fairly gentle around the lines. And does that connect to the front? It does. So we're going to connect this all the way to the front, just like that. Okay, cool. And now the other one. Same idea. I will pull this back, even though the eye is on the inside a bit more. We'll keep it that way. I think that'll just make it easy. We'll give him a little bit of a, what do you call it? Eyelash. Okay, let's go ahead and give him a nice bag under his eye, and there we go. Let's zoom out, take a look. Sweet. He doesn't have thick eyelashes, but he does have some. So just to make sure that shows, I'm going to just thicken up this top eyelid. Just a touch. Just a touch. And it's only on the outside of the eye. It's not on the inside. So I'm only trying to thicken up the outer portion of that line. So we can build it up and then drop it away into the shape. And that'll really help try to get some more light and shadow on the right part of his face. All right. And here we go. And here we go. Now, it looks like this kind of comes here, turns around, so we can see the nostril in its own form, and the actual nostril swirls around underneath and then back up. Nice. I like it. I like it. And yes, I'm really glad I went to lunch. I'm really glad I went to lunch. This is the important thing of knowing when to step away and when to come back. I'm coming back a bit refreshed. I don't feel like I'm as lost as I was in our previous video. Excuse me. Please do me a big favor. If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that like button for me. When I do commissions, it's not really something I think about live streaming all the time, but at the same time, I mean, if more people show that interest, then I'll know that it's a good way to keep you guys enthusiastic here on the channel, which is important to me. So let me also go and track our likes on my Facebook video here. Wow, thank you to the 5 likes already. Good heavens. Thank you very much. Awesome. Okay. How many of you remember me when I was doing videos all the time? It's been a while. It's been a long time, actually. Okay, don't mind me for crossing my legs. I don't like you guys seeing my skin. I don't like you seeing my skin. All right, let's get back at it. All right, so I just try to take it easy when I'm in studio. I get so overly focused, and like I said, watch the last video. You'll see how perturbed I become when things don't go my way. But I mean, hands down, it's important to remind yourself to chill out and try and remember that the caricaturing process needs to be as fun for you as it is for the person receiving the caricature. The more fun you have, the more that they will love it because they can feel it in your work. That's really important. Really, really, truly important. I can't really think of many other jobs other than maybe being a musician or any entertainment, being an actor or whatever. There are not a lot of other jobs like this where your end product, I mean, I think there's a lot of, okay, I'm going to take it back. There's a lot of jobs that are like this, but this one strictly, you feel it especially, that your mood affects the end product more than anything. The goal is to have a comical and fun rendering of someone when you're done. And boy, that can be so easily affected by your emotions, by your energy, by your health. That all this stuff plays a major role in a big way. Let's see. I see this tooth line coming forward here, so we'll go ahead and do that like that. There we go. Okay. All right, a little bit of a black gap there, so we'll fill that in. And there's a little bit of black gap underneath his teeth too, so fill it in down here so it looks like his mouth is just slightly ajar. Maybe agape would be the right word. I'm also dealing, just so you guys know, you might see me lean back a lot and like lay back in my chair. I'm actually doing that for a purpose. I'm supposed to have surgery soon. I'm going to be talking with my doctor here in the next couple days to schedule up my surgery. I need to have my gallbladder removed and have some other stuff done, unfortunately. And what happens apparently is if you have any gallbladder issues, you get a band of tightness and pain right down here around your chest. And it affects me pretty heavily when I am leaning forward or even sitting straight up or standing straight up. And it's become quite a troublesome thing. So I have been very impatiently awaiting surgery to get my gallbladder out. And I've been really exhausted recently and stuff too. And they say that my gallbladder could be part of the issue on that. So I'm hoping that's the case because I'm ready to be done with this. I've been feeling super tired, and recently, to try and make up for being so tired, I take sleep meds and I'm in bed usually at about 6 p.m. I'm not even kidding. So it's 2 o'clock now, so my day's basically over. In 4 hours, I'm supposed to be in bed. I mean, that to me, that's ridiculous. But unfortunately, that's how life has been for the past little while for me. While still trying to be a full-time radio DJ and a full-time YouTuber. And you're going, full-time YouTuber? What are you talking about? I have another channel. It's called Legacy Studio. And I play video games over there. And I have an audience that's growing by a couple hundred people every month. Well, yeah, a couple hundred people every month or so. And it's doing really, really well. So if you want to go check it out, look up Legacy Studio, and greatly appreciate having you over there. But yeah, I'm a full-time YouTuber, and I am making videos almost every day and working incredibly hard and admittedly wearing myself out a little bit too much, I think. And my gallbladder is starting to tell me that I'm maybe overdoing it slightly. All right. So you see how his eyebrows kind of just dissipate. They don't stick in that solid black the way that they are. So it seems to come to a point, and then they kind of tone out. So I'm trying to create that same effect. Okay, same over here, but not as much. All right. And let's go up here. Okay. Once again, guys, happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me breathing. Things are, I'm focused, and I'm afraid I don't have any music to play for you guys due to copyright stuff. So, turn on some nice music, sit back and relax, and enjoy the drawing. We're finally getting somewhere here where it's actually turning into something. It's taken 3 hours to get to this point. Well, maybe not 3 hours, but close. Okay. Let me dig up the reference photo of him now, because there is a different reference photo that I need for him when it comes to his goggles. So let me save this image here, and I'll pop it up on our live feed so you can see. He's wearing a pair of goggles that I do not recognize. And if you're wondering what kind of goggles I'm talking about, well, drone pilots wear FPV goggles, or first-person view goggles. And I've flown FPV for a couple years, and this is kind of how I got into the industry. So right there, you can see that weird thing on his head. That's actually a pair of, it's kind of like wearing, it's an awful lot like wearing a pair of VR goggles, except the camera is in the drone that you're flying in, or the plane that you're flying, in the remote control device that you're driving or flying, or whatever the case may be. So you wear these goggles and you see it from the perspective of whatever you're controlling. It's a pretty cool thing. And so you can see that it covers up an awful lot of his hairline. So that's why I didn't want to put too much attention into the hair, per se, because we're about to cover it all up with this goggle that he has. And once again, I don't recognize what model goggles those are, so unfortunately it's not as easy as drawing what I usually draw. So we'll have to doctor it up a little bit and refinagle it around. Make sure to smack that like button for me, folks. I do appreciate that very much. Let's sketch in some goggles. Some go-go's. So in this situation, we need to do some rethinking on how I'm going to do this. So let's start with this. We'll find our center line that goes to the back of his head. I'm doing this on a separate layer so I don't damage what I've already done. So, what we can do is we can actually draw a head if you want, and then you could draw the lines out, but I think this will be just fine. I am going to minimize my initial sketch and also my pre-ink lines underneath. Basically just trying to hide as much as I can here, so it's not as distracting for me, because I'm going to be looking for that center point. Off of that center point, I want to imagine what's actually touching his forehead. So he does have a nose piece, so we can draw in that nose piece. Let me use red here. So the way the nose piece would come down and fit around his nose. And then looking at where he has it sitting really high up on his head. So let's try and raise it up a little bit higher. I think they actually look better if you bring them lower down over your head. So I might try to bring it down a little bit lower so it doesn't look like he's wearing like I can't even begin to think what kind of hat you'd call it. So I'm going to follow the contour of his head. And it goes over to about the temple of his head over here and over here. So I'm just going to follow that so I get a general idea of what that's going to be. And then, thank you for the like. I see someone hit that like button. I appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and cap it. So basically, this is what he would be looking through. This is what's pressing against his face. And then we need to build off of that and box it in to make the goggles on top of that. So let's see how we would go about doing that. Let's enhance our opacity a wee bit. And what I'll probably do once again is minimize it just to have it for reference. And then I will 3D build the box design off of it. So here's what I see. I see this, and then I see a triangle like this. So about right there. That triangle is where it looks like this nose piece comes out to. So let's draw out to the nose piece. There we go. And then I see a line that comes up like that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build this as a 3D form off of the top of these goggles. So like this. And I'm trying to do it on both sides as equally as I can, understanding that we have to build this form pretty exactly. Okay. So right here is where the control interface is. So we'll put in a little fake control interface screen. And I can't really tell where the buttons are, so I'm going to fake in some buttons. I think it's maybe like a scroll wheel or something. And then this comes up to the top up here. And we're going to bring it back down to this side over here. All right. So far so good, I guess. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's a caricature. There's a certain point in time where you really can't be too picky. I'd say that's better than what I was expecting I would get, that's for sure. It looks like his interface to his antennas, or antennas depending on what part of the States you're from, is coming out here. We'll put one of the antennas up here. Okay. I used to remember the name for all of these different antennas and things like that. I've changed what I do. I haven't done drone racing in many, well, about 2 years now, probably, if I ask one of my friends here locally. Haven't touched my drones. They sit in the basement now, unfortunately. But I used to fly them all the time. Had a YouTube channel on it, too. All right. There we go. And then there's going to be a connection to a strap, and it looks like he's got an extended wideband strap, so we will create that extended wideband strap here. There we go. And that looks like about it there for him. So, and then may as well, now in this image, he's not wearing his glasses, but I'm assuming that glasses are a regular thing. Yes, they are. Well, he's not wearing them every time he's wearing the goggles, so maybe I'll leave them off. Maybe I'll leave them off. Yeah, maybe we'll leave them off. So, now that I've got this preliminary structure, I don't like it, but what we're going to do is we're going to try and finagle it on his head a little better. So I'm going to start by rotating it a bit more, because I kind of want to make it more of a point on his head, and I also want to give it a bit more girth. I mean, I kind of wish... Well, actually, that helped. That helped. What I wish I could do would be like a liquefy tool. Unfortunately, I mean, there's sort of liquefied tools of a certain nature with the skew options and things, but there's not really a liquefy tool in Clip Studio. But that's one of the very few flaws that Clip Studio has, because it's kind of amazing. Let's see. I think we got a pretty good theory there. The only thing I need to do is just kind of build up some structuring underneath it for the padding that goes underneath here. So we'll just go ahead and put in some padding that would go against his face. Usually it's like a black foam. And you can see it there on the bottom of his goggles. And like I said, I'm trying to get it a little closer to his eyebrows than in his reference photo. He's wearing it up really high, and usually just a little bit lower right over the eyebrows is kind of a better look. When, you know, if you're gonna be illustrated, you want to be illustrated to look the best you can. And just have it right there on the top like that makes it look like he's wearing like cosplay ears of some kind or something like that. And we're trying to make it look a little bit more, I'm pretty awesome. So we'll have to tease that system a little bit. All right. Now, 6 people watching. Good heavens. Thank you, folks. 6 people watching right now. That's catching me off guard a little bit. I hope you're enjoying your time with me. And if you are, do me a favor, hit the like button. I am keeping an eye on those likes. I deeply appreciate it. We're going to get to the color here. And once we start getting into the color, that's when things will get fun. I enjoy when we get to color. So let's go ahead and drop the opacity on this a little bit. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is take my other layer, that's my ink layer, and with a mask on there, I'm just going to go ahead and erase everything that's behind the goggles. But I'm not erasing it. I am merely hiding it with the mask. That way, if I need to pull it back for any reason, I have it. But I can get rid of it. That way, it's not distracting me from while I'm inking. All right, so now let's go ahead and ink them in. I'm going to ink them in on a separate layer just to make sure that I'm not confused. What was this? Inking on a separate layer so I don't make any messes too much. And I'm going to do the same thing that I do with my lettering. I'm going to go ahead and ink everything on the inside of the form with a very thin line, moderately thin line. And then everything on the outside of the form is going to be thickened, just to try and help build some structuring in this a bit more as it connects to his face. All right. Oh, Zoe's barking at something. She's my big Great Dane guard dog. She wasn't a guard dog, but she barks at pretty much anything outside the window. So she's turned into a guard dog. She used to come to work with me every day at the radio station. And like I said, guys, you saw maybe earlier in this, in the video from earlier today, or even right now, I turn my Wacom Cintiq here on a swivel quite a bit. And I would like to upgrade. I'm actually very curious about one of those Huion systems. And I gotta admit, I tried doing the YouTube thing. I tried contacting Huion and saying, hey guys, you want to sponsor me reviewing one of your boards? And they said no pretty quickly, unfortunately. So I was like, well, okay. So I haven't bought one and I can't afford one right now. But I gotta admit, it's intrigued me to try one of those, because I do believe that a lot of technology has caught up from when I bought this. I bought this probably 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere around there. And it was an amazing day to get this all hooked up. And I bought it used off of eBay, and a buddy of mine pointed me to someone who was selling these, who did repairs on them and then sold them. And so this guy is technically super old, and once iPads came out, the prices on these things dropped so incredibly much, because iPads can do basically all the same stuff that this can. And the only thing that makes iPad different than this is just how small it is. I mean, if they make an iPad that was this large, 21 inches, this is 21 inches. I'd like to get a 24 or 27 inch would be so much fun. But to get a bigger screen, that's really the only reason why these are still in the market for professional artists and filmmakers and animators and stuff, because it's a big size. All right. Well, unfortunately, guys, my body's kicking in. Guess who has to go to the bathroom? So I will be back shortly. I wish I had a way to let you guys know when I would be back. What I will try to do really quickly here is just put a note on here. If anyone else pops in, let them know to stick around for me. But I'm just going to go ahead and pop up a text tool here, and I'll be back as quick as I possibly can. So give me a second, though, if you don't mind. Because when you gotta go, you gotta go. So, yeah, about that. So, there we go. So, I'll be right back here in just a few minutes. If you got to scoot, go for it. If not, stick around. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I'm a little mad at my computer right now because I have not seen any of your chats coming in. There they are. Just checked on my phone. Just checked on my phone, and I see all your comments here. I am so sorry. I've missed comments all the way from 1:55. It's 2:33. I am so sorry, my friends. All right, really quickly, let's quickly talk about these comments. So, Yoridu LB says, Cordial saludo desde Colombia. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching all the way from Colombia, and salute to you too from Colombia. That's awesome. Salute to you from Montana, Great Falls, Montana. Let's see, Fabio Rodriguez, hugs from Brazil, hugs back to you. Thank you so much for watching all the way from Brazil. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you. What else we got? Aaron is back, the man, the myth, the legend. Aaron, thanks for hanging out with me, man. Hey, I am here because you said, hey, you'd like to see more. This is your fault, okay? So everyone else can thank you. Supreme Pirate King said he was going to watch us from the clouds. He or she, I'm sorry if I got that wrong. Clip Studio does have a liquefy tool in the most recent update from a month ago, I believe. I will need to check my updates and see. I actually just reinstalled this Clip Studio on my computer just recently. So let me check something really quick here. Because if it did have a liquefy tool, that would be pretty fabulous. Review change licenses, manual support. I'll have to check and see. I'm not sure what revision of Clip Studio this is, or where they might have that liquefy. Maybe it's not under transform. There's a mesh transformation, which is what I usually use. I'll have to look into that a bit more. And Aaron says, we've come a long way from large drawing boards that take up half the room. That is so very true. But I gotta admit, if I'm drawing caricatures, for a long time there, I absolutely loved drawing on my iPad. I really did. And then as soon as I was really stuck in it and drawing all the time, then I was realizing, oh my gosh, I'm really struggling to get work done as fast as I possibly could be. And then that's when I suddenly realized, hey, maybe I should be doing something on a bigger tablet. And so that's why I dug this guy back out of the mothballs, and I've been drawing on that. All right. I got all your comments now. I am so sorry. That is absolutely terrible that I have not gotten any of those comments. I apologize. I have them now, and I'm going to make sure that I get updates now on them. So I am so sorry. I like talking with you guys, so I'm so sorry. We went and had some lovely Wendy's, which is why I had to rush to the bathroom. Wendy's here in the States is quite good. Even though they claim they have crispy fries, lies. They're like, new advertising, try our hot crispy fries. You'll love them. They're still just as wet and noodly as they've always been. They don't sponsor me. I could say whatever I want about them. All right. Oh, the good old days of getting on here and playing with art in front of you guys. I miss that. I lost my desire for a long time there, and then today it's like I may as well turn it on and kind of have some fun and get some artwork done with people that would want to know some things maybe, and maybe I can offer some help and some guidance. Pretty cool. It's good to be back with you guys. It's just a little awkward these days, just complaining for just a moment. It's a little awkward to see that I have 13,500 subscribers on this channel. 13,500! And yet I'll release a video and it gets 30 views. Ooh, good heavens. That's definitely not what you want people to see. And that's the main reason why I really stopped making YouTube videos on here, because there was a day when I would be able to upload a video and I would get 100 views immediately. Immediately. Like, as soon as I uploaded it, everyone would watch immediately, and it would be a quick 100 views. It was wonderful. And then by the end of the day, I'd probably have 300 or 400 views, you know? Well, now they changed the algorithms, a whole bunch of stuff. Now I upload a video, I get 10 views, 15 views. Barely any. I'm getting more views on these live streams right now, today, than I get on videos that I upload here. even if they were caricature videos. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Because I know I've been reviewing a lot of fountain pens, and you guys aren't here for fountain pens. But I'm telling you, things have changed. I had the same problem with motivation. That's why I watch artists like yourself. I've missed watching your stuff. Aw, Aaron, that's very kind. Very kind. Thank you very much. And then that the fact, you want to know something? The other day, was it last year? I was doing some radio stuff, and I did a remote broadcast where we take a box out, and I'm talking on radio through this remote broadcast gear. And I went to one of our local art shows here that is kind of world-renowned. It's called Western Art Week, when just people from all over the world come to Montana and to Great Falls specifically to look at our Western paintings and things. I'd never been to any of the shows or anything like that, and they hired me to come out and just talk to a couple different artists and stuff. Right before then, I was so uninspired to draw, so uninspired to do commissions, so incredibly burned out. I walked through that place, and I'm looking at all the beautiful artwork, and I nearly started crying. I hate to say that. I hate to be that guy, but I literally almost started crying because I was so instantly re-inspired. It was such a visceral, emotional look to look at all that artwork and see how beautiful it all was. And one artist that truly amazed me, and I wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, just painted things like cows and rams and things like that in like sunrise stuff. So this hot, beautiful sun look. But then what he did was he put in such crazy colors like teals and purples, very unnatural colors that you would never see in nature. And it was so incredibly beautiful and so incredibly visceral. I literally got emotional, and I'm like trying to wipe my eyes away, and and are you okay? I'm like, allergies. But it was so re-inspiring. I went home that night. I dug out my oil paints and my acrylics, and I started painting that night. And by the time the week was over, I think I had painted 5 or 6 paintings. And I've been doing it, here and there ever since. I just went and bought more paint while we went to lunch today. I bought 4 more tubes of paint. And those, finding someone that inspires you, and thank you so much for allowing me to be that inspiration. I don't know why I would be that guy, but to find someone that inspires you, or to find something that just reminds you, or to go and see an art show that you weren't expecting to say, oh my gosh, you just can't take it, man. You can't take it. It's awesome. So if you're finding yourself in that stage of life, go and find some of that inspiration and just get ready to get your butt kicked. Okay, cool. There's so many amazing artists out there who are so better than me. So better than me. You already know how I feel about my artwork. I enjoy what I do. But yeah, the truth is, I'm a nobody. And it's just really, really fun to see people that are so incredibly good at this and who are able to teach it without having that imposter syndrome, and just the good that they put out there in the world because they're teaching people how to do this kind of amazing stuff, So we're going to leave the glasses off for now, but I might put them back on a little later on here. All right, let's see. Something kind of interesting is in his reference photo, he's got a furrow right here that you can barely see. So I'm putting that in. It's good you're keeping caricatures alive. It's not easy these days with mobile phone apps stealing work. Yeah, no kidding, right? But they really don't do that good a job. And you know what? All the advertisements for those mobile apps, you realize that the artwork that they're showing on those mobile apps is stolen from people like you and I? That's what's really going on. They're not really doing anything. What they're doing more than anything, is stealing art and using it in their advertisements. It's terrible. I know some of the artists that have had their artwork stolen. I've had my artwork stolen, thankfully not for that. I would be really miffed if I found some of my artwork stolen for that. But yeah, I've seen it. And I know some people who've had that happen. I've had my artwork stolen by other people. Because they like the artwork so much that they don't think about how badly it affects the people that bought that artwork from me. They like it and they use it as their own profile pictures. And it's like, hey, whoa, hang on, you didn't pay for that, you know. That is not your original commission. You can't be doing that. Do I want to keep it light or fill it? I might end up filling it, but we'll see. We'll keep it light for the moment and take a look. I think we want to take this out this way a bit more. There we go. Nice. All right, let's, I'm not the I don't like that eyeball. Don't like that eyeball at all. And actually, I don't like the posture of the face either, so let's make some changes, because this just looks wrong. This looks wrong. We're close, but we're not there yet. Let's see. We're going to go ahead and copy all this stuff. Let's go ahead and do this. Pop that in there. And let's go ahead and start by rotating this face before I get angry. So I want to tilt this face forward pretty far. The goggles didn't really help with this. No, not that far. Come back. Let's wait for it to refresh. There we go. Closer. Right there, I think. And I actually plan on having either him or his wife facing the other direction. I do intend for one of them to be flipped. I was thinking on him because he doesn't have any parts in his hair. The only thing he has is a dimple on one side of his face. He has that birthmark on one side of his cheek, which is very, very easy to flip. So that doesn't bother me. I think we're pretty good with that. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll adjust his neck, because that is definitely what is messing this up a little bit. By the way, if anyone new is on here, thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure to smack that like button for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate seeing you guys on here. I was not expecting so many people to show up today. I was doing it just basically to force myself to keep drawing. Because I'll start something and I'll get so tired, I'll be like, nah, I'm just going to go work on something else, you know? And I don't mean so tired, but so annoyed at myself for something not going the way I wanted it to. And so I was like, well, I'll just go live and keep myself mentally. Thank you for the like. I see that. Appreciate that very, very much. It's very kind of you. Believe me, likes are worth money. I know that's weird, but likes are worth money in YouTube. And I don't think my monetization is off for this, but still. When you hit that like button, that lets YouTube know that you should share, that they should share it out further, that gets more people in. It's pretty awesome stuff, so thank you so much. I mean that. This is terrible. The more I look at it, the more I hate it, because I'm looking at it in mirror. So we're going to make some pretty quick adjustments here. And I don't know why monetization isn't turned on, because technically I should be able to have it and then some. Let's see if we can edit this. Because technically you guys showing up here would really help pay a couple bills. Monetization. Alright, sorry if you start getting some ads, but please bear with me because it does help. Here we go. Alright, monetization's on, so if you get some ads, I apologize. But it does help me out with everyone showing up. Let's see. If I can pay some bills with you guys being here, that would be absolutely fantastic. All right, try to get that lined up with the, there we go, with the ear a bit more. Oh boy, that looks bad now. We got to make some adjustments. Now that I'm seeing it in this form, it's really ugly now. So let's make some very serious changes here. What if I flip it back? Yeah, and I'm starting to see all the painful stuff. This is good. This is good. It's amazing how that looks much more correct than that does. Wow, I hate that. Please forgive my ignorance, but I was curious to know what the liquefy tool does. Well, I don't know where it is on here for the record. Because apparently it's in a new update that maybe I don't have. But liquefy tool, at least in Photoshop, would basically allow you to grab and pull parts and move them. So you can expand things and shrink them back. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like working in 3D space. So you would be able to grab the nose and pull it towards you, and it would get bigger as it comes towards you. Or, and the best way I can explain it is like looking through something, looking at water through a bubble. You can drag and blur areas, that too. So it can take things and bring them towards you, put them away from you. It's like a really bad phone filter, basically, where it takes your face and turns it into a really fun, distorted, weird thing. That's basically what a liquefy tool does. Okay. Let me see if I can correct some of my boo-boos here that I'm now seeing in this other side of things. Every little thing we can do to get this likeness on is a much better thing. So doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is being happy with the end product, being proud of your work, and you know what? The happier you are with your work, the more it's worth. Yeah, you're very welcome, Creative. Absolutely. It's a cool tool to have. It really is, and it's very, very helpful for. You know what? If you've ever seen a magazine and you've seen someone that looks like super skinny or super fat or something, and it just doesn't feel quite natural, it's probably because they used a liquefy tool to do that. A lot of people use liquefy tools to make adjustments to people's weight or the way their face looks, or skinnying them up or fattening them up. I found you can also drag holes in paint for a weird effect with the liquefy tool. True. Good point. All right, let's go ahead and drop the opacity. The other thing that's bugging me is I don't like his goggles. And if I don't like his goggles, then immediately that turns me off a little bit on some of this. But yeah, we'll figure this out. We will figure this out. But there's definitely something I don't like about this now, and I'm seeing it more and more. So I think what I'm going to start with, and obviously I won't be using a liquefy tool on it, but I think what I want to do first is grab everything. I'm going to grab the nose and the whole lower chin, just that, and I'm going to pull that down. And I want to rotate it and move it out. Okay. Now let's see what we get. Oh gosh, look at the difference that made. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, cool. I love that. That's way better. That's way better. Don't you hate those little adjustments that make that big a difference? And for the record, guys, I am a little embarrassed that it has taken me this long to draw this, because honestly, if it's a caricature that I'm feeling really good about and I'm able to knock it out really, really quickly, I can have something like this done within 2 hours. And I think I could even beat that even faster than 2 hours. But 2 hours is my safe expectancy on how long it's going to take. And I've been working on this piece now for far too long. Way too long. So Unfortunately, I'm losing money on this one, but that is going to happen from time to time. And that's just the nature of caricature drawing. Sometimes you'll feel really good about what you're working on, and sometimes you won't. All right. That left eye is making me want to throw up, so we're gonna fix that. This is an eyesore. Haha. Let's adjust this. Let's rotate it kind of flat. Unfortunately, I liked putting a little bit more of an Asian feel to it, but I think it needs some very serious adjustment. So let's go ahead and select this. Ooh, tight chest. Like I said, guys, got to remember to lean back for right now until I get my surgery done with. See, what I need to be doing is I need to get a bunch of commissions lined up for when I have my surgery, so that when I'm laying around in my bed and not able to get things done, I can at least get a few commissions to make money while I can't make videos or do anything else. That's what I need to do. All right. Stop working so hard on this. Call that it. Reverse it. That's fine. Adding some color will help. Stop messing with it. Stop touching it. Don't touch. Don't touch it. Don't do it. Stop. All right, let's get some colors in here before I start kicking myself again. Let's see here. By the way, when I do my skin tones, I just find a random skin tone. I'm not picky at first, because I can change everything with hue and saturation. So I know that this is a far too yellow tone, but it's so easy to fix it that I don't really worry too much about that at first. What I am worried about as the process continues is really getting the dynamics correct. So as I keep adding in these tones and I keep adding shading and things, if the shading is a problem, that's where I'm more concerned. Because I can just hit one button to change the color of this. So that's why when I mean I could paint this with purple and I could fix it in a heartbeat. So I could paint this all with shading and highlight and everything in whatever color I want and then just alter it on the final. And admittedly, sometimes I do that just to see what would happen. Okay. Just cleaning up these messy lines here, and I'll probably come back and tidy up a bit more. I hate the back of his head. I'll probably be adjusting that too, because that needs to come in. I'm gonna adjust it right now because I hate it that much. So let's just erase to here. And let's go ahead and grab my ink. Okay. Put his head kind of where I want it to be. And I need it in just a bit more. There we go. That's better. It's the little things, man. The little things that just tick you off. All right, let's clean up that little bit there. And then clean up my line work here. A bit more. There we go. Good enough for now. Let's go back to my ink layer, my color layer. let's show you what happens here. So we'll do a tonal correction, and let's go ahead and make it something really stupid. Like I mentioned, purple. So let's go purple with relatively dark hue, okay? So there you go. So I can color everything that I want to in this tone and then just change it on the other end, and it will be fun. So you'll see. Let's go ahead and select it. Selection to layer, new, and mask it. So let's go ahead now and grab a blue purple. And we'll get our pen. And let's go ahead and start doing this. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and start on shading using this blue purple. There we go. Let's get this here. All right. I'm very curious, for those who are still watching, which could be next to none right now, how long have you been watching my videos? How far back do you go? I'm curious. All right, there we go. Start getting this in here, and can use this to start shaping up the nose, build some structure in. Shading does an awful lot. Two or 3 years, wow. That's awesome. Thank you. 2 to 3 years. So you were around when I was doing my classes. When I was doing my my one-on-one classes and my live classes. I still do the one-on-one classes here and there when I get special requests for them, but I had one student and he hasn't gotten a hold of me in a little bit. Life takes over. We know how that goes. Before I got married. Oh my gosh. Really? Wow, so you've been watching me for 5 years, man. No. 8 years. 8 years? 8 years. I've been married 8 years, dude. Yeah, I've been married now for 8 years, I think. So we've lived here for about 4 or 5 years. So that's awesome. That is awesome. Wow. A lot has changed in those times. I had hair. Still trying to figure out who I was. Time does fly. Good heavens. So I'm sure you saw all my frustration of dealing with the internet and how all those views never played through and stuff. Good heavens. Well, I apologize if I let you down by disappearing. I subscribed a little while ago, but this is the very first time I caught a live video. Thank you. Thank you very much for subscribing. I deeply appreciate that. And the thing is, this channel has not had any new content on it until recently because I just wanted to put something on here that I was enjoying, and that's fountain pens right now. So thank you so much, Creative, for subscribing. I appreciate that. And I hope that... my hope, honestly, for everyone is that the content that I made in the past will help you forward because I don't know what else to teach. I don't know what else to do on here. And if you watch, like, Draws with Jazza and stuff like that, I guess he just goes by Jazza now, or Jazza. But even he says it. The world of tutorials on YouTube is long gone. There was a time when that was centric and that guys like him and I would get a ton of views because we did our tutorials and our guides and things like that. But after a certain point, you could just feel the what's the word? The culture of YouTube begin to change. And as soon as that happened, then and once YouTube changed their algorithms and how your videos got found, all of a sudden, all my views just crashed and everything went away. And Jazza, he was able to turn into something else and continue what he was doing with more like challenge videos. But me, I didn't do that, and I should have. But I was just getting so annoyed and ticked off about it that I just left, you know? And I was getting burned out with the artwork as well as getting burned out with no views. I mean, my channel used to make about... No. This channel was weird. I made about $100 every 6 months in Google advertising on here. Jazza loves himself too much. I think part of the thing that poor Jazzer is dealing with is that you have to have an air of certainty to succeed in YouTube. And that's something that I don't show, and that's why I don't think people stick around on my channels. I have purposefully created a character on my other channel, Legacy Studio, that I call Moss. And Moss is, between you guys and I, since I doubt anyone from my other channel is watching, Moss is a character that I named after myself. Moss stands for my other secret self. And Moss represents basically everything that's in my head that I don't say on camera, or how I feel inside, or how I know I should be. When I'm so worried about views and counts and stuff like that. And so I created Moss so that I can still do that and be that, but not be me. And I think that Jazza knows that he had to become something more, and had to become something more in love with himself to succeed on YouTube. I mean, think about other gamers like Markiplier and other folks. I'm not even a gamer. I became a gamer because my channel wanted me to become a gamer. That happened by accident. But definitely the air is you have to be the king of what you do if you want to survive YouTube and survive the people that watch you on YouTube. Because if you don't look like you know what you're doing, then you're just another idiot. So, I honestly don't blame him, because you can see that change happen. You could see him go from a guy like me to totally in love with himself and totally with that air. He also did pretty good for himself, and I'm sure that changes your mental status as well. Changes how you think about yourself too. I was hoping to become that and never did. Something I'm still a little miffed about. Something I still hope changes. Something I still hope happens one day. That'd be pretty cool. Not that I become in love with myself, but that I get accepted in the YouTube counts and get some viewership. And I feel like I have a lot of good things to say. But there's no one there to listen except for you, and I appreciate that. I've always been in that life of, if someone could just hear me for a minute, I bet you I could lock them in. Bet you I could. I think all YouTubers feel that way. I think we're all in love with ourselves, unfortunately. Aaron's like, yeah, okay, now I see it in you, Tim. Yep, okay. Yeah, you're Jazza now, too. Congratulations. I'm so sorry. All right, let's keep going here. All right, we're going to add some highlights here. So this is the glow effect. We've already done the multiply effect. Now we're going to go to the glow. And then I'll show you how cool it looks when we change the color of this thing, and that's when it's going to pop. So let's go grab the airbrush. Wasn't me being mean, just honest. I know how hard it is. People think cartooning for a living is just fun. Oh gosh. No, and I don't think you're being mean at all. Not even in the slightest. No. Don't even begin to think that I was thinking you were being mean. Are you kidding? Sheesh. That's not it at all. But yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. People thinking that cartooning and all this stuff is easy work. Oh, I thought that once. And For some artists, yeah, absolutely. It might be the easiest thing they've ever done, but for me, no. This is brain racking. Oh, especially if you're concerned about what people think about you, and boy, I am far too much of that. But I even made Moss Scottish because I wanted okay, if I could have an accent, what accent would I like to have? And I joke and I do a Scottish accent all the time, and it was one of those things where I do it all the time. It's like, wow, if I really had a Scottish accent, that's the one I would like to have. And so I created a character where I had to use it all the time and couldn't stop talking like that. So I spend 40 whole minutes talking like this with an accent. And I do it through the whole video game. Every time I laugh, every time I cry, every time I yell, I have to stay with the accent. And I'm still pretty proud of that, as long as it doesn't sound stupid. And it probably does. Scottish character in your comic. Oh, very cool. I think all of us just want to be Scottish just a little bit. Just a little. Okay. All right, let's add some red to his cheeks, shall we? Duplicate layer. Now let's go ahead and go back to normal for now. We'll put it on 100%. We'll clear the glow that's in there. Let's go ahead and grab red. Let's try red on this face and see what we got. He's definitely got red on his lips, a little bit in his cheek here. So I just do it at full 100% opacity, and I just paint it in heavy and quick. So a little bit here in his brow. We'll add some darker shading here. Definitely on the ear here. On the back of the neck a little bit. Just looking for those areas of heat. Okay. And he really doesn't have any, what's the word I'm looking for? Any shadow from like a beard or something like that. He's very clean-faced. Very, very clean-faced. So there's not much I can do with that. In lines of like adding beard hair. If there is any, it's very minimal. All right, let's go ahead and set this to multiply and drop the level down till it seems about natural. And you're going natural on a purple face. Yes, natural on a purple face. Let's see how it looks. Let's go grab our skin. We're going to go to correct. And let's see what happens if we change it back to normal skin. Get it started there. Let's add some luminosity. Remove some sat. Or add some sat. Let's see. All right, remove some more saturation. Add some more luminosity. Starting to look a little bit more like a face now. All right, a bit more sat. Even more luminosity. There we go. So we'll probably make some changes to this because it's still a little too much. But let's go ahead and hit OK with this just for the moment. So in my opinion, the red is a little hot, so let's chill the red out. Not much at all. And then let's get that glow knocked down. So there's 0, and I just want just a little bit of heat in there. There we go. And then our multiply layer is still a bit too vibrant. There we go. Do you remember when I had the No Clue webcomic? You remember when I was doing that? I mean, I think that would have been during your time, Aaron. There we go. What colors would you use to do with a black skin? So I would use I would lean more towards browns, obviously. But then I would highlight with an orange, I think. I think I would highlight with an orange. Let me check something here. It's been, I don't think I have anything on file in my computer, but let me pull up one of my favorite caricatures that I use when I need reference. I don't remember, but I had a lot going on the last few years. I bet you have. And my life does not revolve around anyone, so I do not blame you in the slightest for not remembering those days. Let's see here. I have one caricature that, like I said, I really pull from when I am talking about stuff. Let's see if I can find it. Oh gosh, wow, look at all these old drawings from 2010. How cool. Alright, let's go to Draw2Much. Here we go. So let's see if we can find one of mine. There's one kid that I take a lot of pride in for how he turned out. There he is. So with this piece, what I ended up doing with it is a little different. So I used brown tones, but I used a highlight completely on one side of the face and a darker tone completely on the other. And you'll see that here as this drawing progresses. So when I get this all inked in, you'll see that I'll layer in a complete I'll do two humongous shades. So there's a little highlight, and then look at this. See all the dark going in on one side and all the light going in on the other? And I used a yellow tone, which... Oh, shut up. I don't know if you can hear that. Go away, go away, go away. So, specifically here... So that's the normal tone. And it's just using generic brown tones, depending on the skin tone. But then what brings out what I think helps the skin tone the most is more orange and more yellow in those highlights. So if we scoot forward just a little bit, you can see here, there's the dark tone, and that's only a magenta on multiply. So that's magenta on multiply, and you can see that I've covered over the whole face with it. It's not trying to highlight or shadow key areas. It's a whole atmospheric shadow on that one side. And then you'll see on the other side here, same deal. And I don't remember if I have that set on... I want to say I have that set on add. And once you do that add to it, I'm pretty sure that's what gives it the highlight. I don't know how much I calmed it down, but look at what that does. And then I think that for darker skinned folks, for black and for Indian tones, you really want to make sure that you get those really nice poppy highlights. So I love this kid. I loved drawing him. He was so much fun. And then his dad, I did him the same way. Same kind of structuring in his. So, and you can go and see this on my Facebook if you want. Draw2Much on Facebook. Go blow it up for yourself if you want to see it up close. And all the same ideas. I think I drew these on my iPad, by the way. So once again, there you go. You can see the intensity that I did these in. So I did the father a little different. See, all the flat tones, you can see they're very, very saturated, like brown colors and such like that for the black skin. And then what I did in that next step just really seemed to help because it builds up that atmosphere with the highlights and the shadows when you build that up. And then you can see I'm adding in the shadows after the fact, the way that I like to do, which is I was using magenta back then. I've switched to purple right now just because I'm in that stage of enjoying shading with purples instead of with magentas. I'll probably switch back in an instant, but I've enjoyed purples recently because I've been trying to put more unnatural colors in my work recently because I feel like it makes it pop in a way. And let's see if we can get any more detail. So all the normal shading in lines of building up that structure. And then with that highlight on top, just look at how much that pops. Isn't that crazy? So that would be my suggestion. I would say use the tone that you're assuming you should use. Maybe go a shade or two lighter on black skin. And then build up the atmospheric tones around that face. Because that dark skin sucks in a lot of light. But it seems to cast it in a different way than white skin does. I mean, I could probably do the same thing on white skin, and I'm pretty sure I have around the same time frame, but it really, really, really looked gorgeous on darker skin types, like Indian skin types and that. I mean, I don't know if I did that to this one. I don't even remember if it's around that same time or not. We'll take a look here and see if I did that with this one too. There was a certain season where I really, really loved doing that on my pieces, and it takes a little bit extra to set it up in lines of how you handle your layers and things, but boy, it really pops. Really pops when you do that. Like I said, especially on that darker skin tone. Still love this piece, man. This is a favorite. Let me fast forward here to where we get to where maybe that I did that. I want to see if I did it on here or not. I built some structured shadows in this one. I remember that. Yeah, I went for structured shadows in this one. Did I do it? Did I do it? Usually what you do is you take all your layers and you create a one layer off of all those layers. And then... No, it doesn't look like it did that because I'm adding in highlight structures off of this. And structured shadows and highlights. So it looks like this was all structured shadows and highlights. Well, at least I got some red tone in there. Yeah, I don't think I did it with this one. Nope. Yep, didn't do it with that one. All right, anyway, back at it. I use the airbrush a lot too, but the thing I've learned is that shadows do have a sharp side. And it's beautiful when you can find a way to take a shadow and find that soft side and then turn it into that hard side as well. I mean, you don't have to, as long as it doesn't look muddy. Because if you use all soft shadows because you're doing everything with an airbrush, which most people do, unless you make those nice sharp edges at times, everything just becomes more muddy and everything becomes kind of sloppy. But I mean, even here right now on my own face, there's hard, blasty shadows, that need to be highlighted in an intense line work way in comparison. That's why if I'm doing a quick caricature like this one, quick, it's important to build up those tones that way. If you're going that route. I mean, and I've tried to find the quickest way to get to that end zone, and usually the way I do that is in the red in the blood that's in your skin by adding the red blush. And I use that red blush also as a shadow, and then the highlight hopefully intensifies things. So that's all the soft movement, and then I do just hard, crisp, sharp shadows to make it pop like this. I only work on shading when I'm getting paid. Amen! Exactly! Well said. Well said. Oh, and it's really funny because if you actually look at the caricature that I drew of myself that's on my YouTube channels, at least one of them, I actually have no shading on it whatsoever, and it's one of my favorites because it has no shading at all. I'm actually using my screen here to gauge how intense I should make this, because I'm looking here at the picture that you guys are seeing. And this Wacom Cintiq, unfortunately, is so old that it does not show colors the same way that a standard monitor does. So I have to look at my finished work on another screen before I call it complete. because sometimes it needs some adjustments from what I'm seeing on the Cintiq to what I see on a TV. Like, I'm actually using a TV as my monitor on my computer. I have a regular monitor up here, you know, as well, but I have to check it between monitors. All right, let's make this guy stop looking dead. Everyone knows this trick if you watch my videos. Quickest way to give your person life. Here we go. Hit that like button for me, people. Greatly appreciate it. Let's let YouTube know that this is cool content and it should be out there in the world. That'd be really great. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some gray to the eyes. If you've seen my videos in the past, this is one of my techniques that I have taught everyone in all my videos. Now, actually, I usually like a tone of blue in it, so I'm going to go ahead and tone that blue into this here as soon as we're done. So I'm just going to use this right now to lock it in. There we go. So now that we have that all toned in like that, now let's go over here to Edit, Tonal Correction, Hue and Luminosity. Just going to add a little bit of saturation in it first. Let's see, it might be in the grayscale, so it might not change for me. No problem. I'm just going to go ahead and lock the layer. I'll grab a little bit more blue, grab the biggest brush I possibly can, and just do a clean sweep right around the boom, just like that. Now, let's go grab our airbrush, pure white. And with that layer locked the way it is, now we'll start painting in our teeth and our eyes, remembering to focus on where that light is hitting in our reference photo. So we can kind of see a little bit of shadow at the top of the teeth on the left side here. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a lot of white here on this right side. There we go, just kind of like that. With the eyes, I just like to try and keep a little bit of gray in there still. But we're just going to go ahead and fill that in with a little bit of white, leaving in some of that gray. All right, let's go ahead and draw in the eyes. Pure black. Size it down. And let's go ahead and just draw in where we think they need to be. Focusing our attention on, do they look like they're the right size? Now we'll mask it. Erase the excess using the mask. No problem if we go over on that mask a little too much. Just grab our paintbrush and paint it back in. There we go. Fill it all back in there. Now the reason why I do it like that is because sometimes you want to move the pupils around. So I've done them on their own layer, so if I want them to look somewhere else, I can literally shift that layer to where I want, retone the eyes, and that gives me an idea on how to do that and how to fix that. Also allows me to make sure I can double check how much white of the eye is showing on both eyes. That way it matches him pretty well, because looking at that negative space is pretty important too. All right, let's lock this layer's position now in lines of the what we call the alpha lock or the pixel lock. Now let's go ahead and add in to the same layer the color of their eyes, and this guy looks like he has brown eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in inside the inside of our eye here, leaving a little bit of an outline there. There's the brown of the eyes. And since we are going to do some work on top of it, we're going to make a new layer, and I'm going to put the pupil in over top in their own layer right here. And I'm going to make that pupil a little bit wider open for him because he has brown eyes. So brown eyes kind of have the same effect of a pair of sunglasses. They kind of protect the eyes a bit more, so they can be open a little bit more than if you have blue eyes or a different color eye. Now we'll go ahead and adjust them a little bit to make sure that they feel like they're naturally sitting, and also naturally sitting in the center of the in the middle of the eye. So there we go. A little bit more. So I'm just trying to fill it in here a little, and then I'll clean up the excess. And then we'll work on the pupil a little bit more. The pupil. Or is it the iris? I never get those right. We'll just doctor it up a little bit, and it should be good to go. So just make sure it's looking pretty straight. That looks pretty good to me. He still looks pretty, like, freaky at the moment, but we can fix that really, really quick. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab a deeper brown with an airbrush. Let's get in here nice and close. And only, very, very carefully, only on the layer that we already painted over. Just going to go ahead and add a deeper tone of that brown. So more or less only the bottom of the eye is holding that brighter tone. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll come back in and just doctor in a little bit. From far away, that'll look pretty awesome. Okay, same over here. Just doctor that in. Same on the other side. Come back with a little bit brighter tone. And zoom out. He shouldn't look as, like, death stare. There we go. Let's go ahead now, go back in here. He still looks like he's looking the wrong direction. Let's see if a highlight will help that. Pure white. Yes, I use a lot of pure white, even though you're not supposed to. It's because I'm a cartoonist. Isn't that right, Aaron? So we'll go ahead and pop that in there. And right there, that will help a lot. That pulls a lot of the gaze forward. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead now and get a little bit of red. I'll go pure. We'll give him lipstick. Why not? All right. Zoom into the lips, which aren't quite balanced, but I'm going to leave them alone for now. If it bugs me to death, then I'll change them. But for now, I'm just going to leave them be, because we've already spent. I'm at the stage where, unfortunately, I kind of need to accept all the mistakes that I'm seeing now, and just knock it out. And if they're absolutely abysmal, I'll go back in and fix them. But for the most part, we've spent far too much time investing energy in trying to get the likeness. Now it's time to, unfortunately, just move on and crank it. Multiply, drop that percentage way down. Don't need them looking very feminine, so we're just dropping that down to literally like 10, 11%. Same thing with the gums. Let's make sure that they're on a layer where we can actually see the color of the gums. Just little tiny dots of red on there. Let's go in here and clean up that excess red. There we go. Same deal. Drop the opacity. I'm going to leave it in normal and just drop the opacity so it uses some of the white of the teeth through the red. That'll make it look pretty natural. All right, blue goggles of goggles. We've got to get some blue goggles. Let's get some blue goggles. And you guys see that I use very, very saturated colors. Very, very saturated colors. And then I bring them down by using shadow and highlight to detox them, basically. They're overly intense. They're the boldest as they can possibly get. They're dang near fluorescent. And I calm them back as we keep cranking. All right. Shadow and highlight fixes a lot of stupid. That bottom is going to be black. I'm going to do that on a separate layer because it's a different kind of material. I want light to affect it differently. So we'll grab a gray near black, but I don't want it to be so black that it disappears into the outlines that I've drawn. So it's not quite 100K. It's off by just maybe 5% or 10%, just to give it a little bit of that different tone. My ultimate goal is to make sure that my lines, since I stick with very black, very deep gradients, very, very deep outlines, I want that to show even when I'm using the deepest blacks. And I can do the same thing for his hair. I'll actually put that on the same layer. Got some good music going on. Warned you guys I might do some dancing today. When I was making videos back in Florida, Aaron would remember those days. When we were working out of Florida, I had this on an arm, and I would set it up pretty high, tall enough where I could literally stand and draw at it. And I would get some really, really solid, hard beaten music going on, and I would literally just be dancing to it and enjoy the process of drawing. For some reason, that made a lot of drawings a lot more fun for me. Not because I'm a good dancer, but I just love music with an intense beat. I love EDM music and dance music, and especially really like orchestral music with a mix of, I guess you'd call it new age. If you look up like new age orchestral, there's quite a series of very, very interesting songs out there that are a lot of fun because they use a lot of really hard beats with beautiful orchestral ensembles and things like that. They've been using a lot of stuff like that recently in a lot of movies recently that you might recognize, and it's just absolutely incredible. One of my favorites is, I don't know if you guys know Tron Legacy. Tron Legacy I personally liked the movie a lot. It kind of got shamed pretty quickly, I think. Had one of my favorite actresses in it. My wife calls her my other girl. Olivia Wilde was the actress in that one. I always thought she was pretty hot. And that movie, the music in that was done by Daft Punk. And it's just this beautiful, beautiful flow of music. Beautiful flow of music that's just absolutely orchestral and just thick and powerful, and at the same time you got this crazy EDM stuff going right in the middle of it. Absolutely fantastic. Music is how I time working on my comic. I take a break at the end of an album. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I love that, Aaron. I love that. That is a fantastic idea. Very cool. Great idea. I never thought of that. Unfortunately, my rule is you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't do anything until you finish your work. That's how my dad taught me, and I stuck with that, unfortunately, until I absolutely just can't stand it anymore, kind of like today when I had to say, okay, listen, I got to take a step back, I got to chill out here and regroup here, because I'm just absolutely screwing this up, So, but yeah, that's a good idea, man. Very good idea. I love that. All right, let's go ahead and try some feathered shadows on this to see if we can get this to look less intense with those blues. We'll put a lot of heavy shading on the bottom here. Let's go ahead and multiply it and drop it. But since it's very geometrical, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the shadow off at the geometry. Okay. All right, so there we go. Let's go ahead and duplicate this layer now. Okay, good. And now I'm going to only paint this in the next color. Same thing, but this one's going to be a little less intense. Okay, there we go. All right, next one. Let's go ahead and clear this. Actually, I kind of like that, how that looks. But what I do want to do is come back in here into the lower layers and just paint in a little bit darker in here. Get these intensified a little bit more. There we go. So that really keeps that geometry in there, keeps the most intense portion there nice and bold. I like that. So I'm going to merge all these together now, and hopefully they will hold their... Yep, they'll hold their color all the way through. Awesome. Nice. All right. I gotta admit, it's not my favorite at all. But for the sake of getting the commission done properly, it's getting done properly. So there's a certain point in time where you just have to draw the line at absolutely perfecting it to what's going to make the client happy and how long is the client willing to wait for it. And then if the client's willing to wait a while for it, which I'm sure they are, how badly are you messing up the final image because you are not satisfied? And how much is your disheartened feeling and depression of it not working well for you actually screwing up the final piece, because then suddenly you're not in love with the piece anymore. It's amazing how bad that messes things up. All right, I'm gonna thicken his neck here a little bit. Okay. Turn off all my layers till we get to the flat layer. And we'll come here. Aaron, what's your comic about, bud? There we go, that's better. Let's do some shaping to that shadow underneath his chin. There we go. All right, now let's clean up that little dot that everyone's been waiting for me to clean up. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and prep this up for a name now. Let's go to canvas size. Try to make this look like less of a floating head, hopefully by the time we're done. Okay. Now we'll close all the layers, and let's move our friend here more in the center. Waiting for my computer to catch up with me here. It's my alter ego in another realm called Blunderland. I take fairy tales and nursery rhymes and twist them. It's not for the young readers. There you go. Well, good thing that I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate you saying that. I think a lot of us artists make a lot of stuff based off of our own lives. No Clue webcomic was based off of my life and off of my future wife, who became my wife. My amazing wife, Shabo. All right, let's see what name we got for him here. I think it's Ribbit FPV, I think. Let's see, Ribbit FPV. Ribbit FPV. Same deal as before. We'll need to intensify his highlights. He's looking pretty dull. So we'll let's just try and brighten it up right now just to see if we can get a little bit more life into his face. It's a little better. We'll come back to that some more probably here in a little while, but let's go ahead and start focusing in on that name. All right, Ribbit FPV. What do we want to do for Ribbit? Main character used to wear a bucket on his head, so I had to show emotions just using his eyes. Oh, that's cool. It's a good challenge. Ribbit. It would be frog style. Wider, I think, would feel better for him. Let's see what that does. The reason why I'm saying wider is because I'm thinking of a frog, and for some reason a frog just puts off a vibe of kind of like flat and long. Not long, but flattened. Roadkill! How about that? Roadkill. That's not what I meant at all. But I'm leaning towards that for this. Ribbit. Let's do a long T. If you see a frog on a side of a wall or something, they're very flat, and kind of angular and such. So it's kind of like, okay, can I work with that in this? And then FPV, FP, and fill that extra space like that, I think. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with that and see if it works. So let's size it down. And I'll probably give him some shoulders here in a little bit too. I think I gave his wife some shoulders, but by hiding it behind her hair. So let's go to skew. Okay. Frog called Roadkill. Wouldn't that actually be called Frogger? It's already taken, unfortunately. All right, let's go ahead and drop this down a little bit. All right, I think we got a plan there. Get this gallbladder out of me, pretty please. Okay. Whew. All right, let's draw it in. Stabilization on. Brush size, medium size. Opacity, 100%. I'm going to do it in blue, and then I can just alter it back to its black state if I like how it turns out. There we go. And we'll go ahead and clear this. Make this kind of sans. Or I guess serif? I guess it would be a serif. Sans, I think, means without serif. So I'm putting in a serif on this one. There we go. Right here, everyone's like, just copy the B again. Well, I'm sometimes traditional. I'd much rather just redraw it and find something a bit more fun and balance between the two. Have you ever done any wall art? Like stuff like a mural? I've done a mural, but it wasn't a mural. It was a I don't know if you guys have skating rinks in the UK, but at one of our local skating rinks here in Great Falls, I actually did a. It could have been a mural, but I actually talked the client into letting me draw it digitally, and then I turned it into, and then I had it printed, and I installed it, and it turned out really, really well. But I've only done one mural per se, and it would be that piece. I've never done anything of that ever. That was the only time I've ever done anything like that. But like for hanging up, I mean, I have a couple pieces that I did, and actually I did 2 pieces last night, and I think you already saw. I was going to show you guys this anyway. Let's see. So this is one that I finished last night. Lord of the Rings Gandalf. So that was one I finished last night out of acrylic. Kind of a fun piece. So this one I might actually frame it. I don't usually frame any of my pieces, but that one I will probably frame. And I actually also thought, well, if I did Gandalf, maybe I should also do Frodo. And I thought I would do Frodo in kind of a freaky way. So, okay, it's kind of good to stand up for a second. Ugh. By the way, I've done t-shirts. I did that t-shirt. Here is Frodo. Still in progress. But I wanted him really freaky, so I gave him some pretty intense ring eyes. Let me focus the camera on him. There you go. So, really intense in those eyes, kind of ring nature. Doesn't even have any pupils, just the ring. One ring to rule them all. So, I did that. And actually, I found 2 other paintings that I kind of forgot about in my travel easel here. Let's see if I can get to them. I don't remember when I did this, but I really like how it turned out. I mean, it's not done yet, but kind of like the colors on it. And then I think this one was just another landscape. Yeah, that one didn't turn out at all. I'll probably paint over that one. Yeah, that one's stupid. And yeah, I got a couple other pieces hanging around here that I've done that would be considered wall art. I took a bunch of them over to my office because I have a recording studio that I work in at my day job, and I hang them up over there, and I call that my little museum, so that my little gallery, because I have a lot of people come in and record, and some of them are the local galleries and museums and things, so I'd like them to know that I actually have some knowledge about art and the art industry. So let's go ahead now and change this one to black. Or maybe change it to green. That would be fun. So we'll go ahead and do this one. Let's change this one to green. There we go. Maybe we'll build up the saturation on it. There we go. And the opposite color of blue is going to be orange in this case. Not sure if I like that for this one, but maybe we'll see. Let's go here. All right. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching. I appreciate it. And I know, I'm surprised you guys are watching. I mean, I know if I was just listening to a guy breathing into a microphone all day, that would get old very quickly, and yet you guys have really, really stuck around. I deeply appreciate that. Looks like the average watch time for everyone is about 5 minutes. That means you put up with my breathing and talking incessantly for 5 minutes. I'm impressed, and I thank you. And also my grunting and groaning, which I apologize. Unfortunately, drawing has become a bit more painful than it used to be. What's up, sweetheart? Oh, no. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll wrap up this piece here, and then I'll come and give Sammy a bath. Okay. All right. Good luck. I'll be there as quick as I can. Unfortunately, we had snow, and then that snow has melted off. And everything is just mud and dirt outside right now, and apparently my two dogs decided to go have a frolic in the mud. So that means my little long-haired corgi probably looks a little bit more like a shag rug. So I need to go give her a bath, unfortunately. So let me go ahead and just quickly put a couple touches on this, and then I will have to scoot, unfortunately, guys. I do apologize about that, but yeah, duty calls as a dog dad. There we go. I think that will work. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll add in a little bit of yellow on the top. I really like using this color. And I kind of like it with that green there. That's kind of cool. And the R needs a shape in it too, but okay. Well, folks, I'm so sorry to run. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me. Thank you so very much. I deeply appreciate having you all here. I hope that that I have not let you down in some fun and some conversation. If you do enjoy this, please hit that like button. I never expected that a live stream that I did drawing, who is it, Tim from Apple, whatever his name is, I forget, Tim Cook. I never expected it to get as much fun, as much viewership as it did. I mean, it got like 30, 40, 50,000 views or something like that. It's one of my most liked videos here on the channel. So I never know when something like this is going to take off and turn into something amazing that I wasn't expecting. So thank you so much for hanging out with me and enjoying the artwork. Please go be inspired. Do some drawings. Creative, Aaron, thanks for keeping me company in here in the chat room. Also, thank you so much for, and I'm trying to scroll back up here to remember his name, Supreme Pirate King, for watching from the skies, watching from the clouds. Thank you so much for your time and being close. Fabio, thank you for your shout out from Brazil, and also Yoredu from Colombia. Thank you so much. I deeply appreciate you all. And like I said, folks, hit that like button for me if you want to see more like this. I'm not making any promises, but when commissions do come around, it is really nice to connect with you guys. And obviously, I have a lot more that I need to do to this piece and linking the two pieces together that I have. But, you know, family duty comes first. Got to take care of the pups. So, I love y'all. God bless you, and I will see you next time on here, okay? And y'all behave yourselves, all right? Thank you so much. Y'all take care.